Carbon markets are a powerful tool in the fight against climate change, providing a financial incentive for reducing greenhouse gas emissions and promoting sustainable practices.
Imagine a future where Africa leads the way in climate action. Carbon markets represent a transformational economic and development opportunity for the continent. They can be a vital source of financing to mobilize additional resources for clean energy transition and for also climate action.
It's important that the new era of African carbon markets emphasizes integrity, equity, and transparency to ensure that carbon markets drive real climate actions and achieve meaningful scale. First, let's talk about integrity. On the supply side, high-quality projects must deliver accurate and transparent reporting, use robust methodologies, and ensure fair benefit sharing. This means projects should not only reduce or remove greenhouse gas emissions, but also provide tangible benefits to local communities, such as improved livelihood and environmental protection. On the demand side, companies must credibly use credits to support their climate goals. This involves ensuring that carbon credits are used to supplement genuine emission reduction efforts, not replace them. Standardization bodies are essential for promoting industry self-regulation and providing high-quality carbon credits as they set requirements for carbon credits projects. Positive actions are being taken by organizations like the Integrity Council for the Voluntary Carbon Market through their core carbon principles, which set fundamental principles for high-integrity carbon credits. Tailor-made methodologies for Africa are also key to scale the carbon markets. ACMI works with partners to encourage the development of new integrity methodologies for fossil fuel genset displacement, REDD+, and cook-stove projects, which historically comprise 90% of African credit supply, to drive demand and benefits to local communities. In line with this, efforts to prevent greenwashing must continue. This includes setting guidelines for using carbon credits and making credible claims, such as the Voluntary Carbon Market Integrity Initiative Claims Code of Practice.
Carbon finance is more than just a funding mechanism. It is a catalyst that makes expensive, low-carbon technologies financially viable. It leverages additional private and public capital while delivering wide-ranging economic, social, and environmental benefits. These contributions are crucial for our nationally determined contributions, NDCs, and for countries' sustainable development goals. At VCMI, we are dedicated to enabling high-integrity voluntary carbon markets that align with the 1.5-degree goal of the Paris Agreement, benefiting society, nature, and climate. Our Claims Code of Practice provides a universal standard for companies to first, use carbon credits as part of their net zero transitions, and second, to make verified claims about this use, ensuring integrity and meaningful climate action. On the supply side, our Access Strategy program empowers host countries to access climate finance in support of climate and sustainable development policy priorities through high-integrity voluntary carbon markets, VCMs.
Addressing equity is equally crucial. Governments are implementing policies to ensure that benefits from carbon projects are shared fairly. This includes safeguarding land rights and supporting community-led initiatives. Unfortunately, African-sourced carbon credits are unable to match the higher prices of EU-sourced carbon credits. Governments and relevant international organizations must work together to ensure globally fair price competition for carbon credits.
What we learned in the European context is that there needs to be a good balance between supply and demand for credits. Because if there is an oversupply, as we experienced it in Europe, if there is an oversupply on the market, the prices are kept very low and the prices are kept at an insignificant level. And that is in nobody's interest. So a good price comes from a good balance between supply and demand for credits. So the governance question is an absolutely key one. It needs to be creating trust to the market operators, and there needs to be a good balance between supply and demand for credits. But there are also other things that governments can do. There are revenues created, and governments may help to ensure market operators that these revenues are also flowing to the local communities, those who are really doing the hard work, those planting the trees or maintaining the forests, so that they can have a revenue and a living out of that. And that social impact, that redistribution of the revenues from carbon pricing is absolutely important.
Future effective carbon markets will also require robust policy frameworks that support sustainable development while ensuring environmental integrity. African governments can leverage natural resources to generate high-quality carbon credits by protecting forests, investing in sustainable agriculture, and adopting renewable energy solutions. To realize this, African governments should establish a stable regulatory environment that clearly outlines rules for verifying and certifying carbon credits to ensure these credits are high quality and credible.
Carbon markets are an important instrument for the implementation of nationally determined contributions, and it explains why many countries in Africa strive to improve the integrity of the markets, with GIZ supporting these efforts. Integrity means that carbon credits that are sold or bought represent real and verifiable emission reductions. Progress has been made in many countries towards developing regulatory and institutional frameworks that allow countries to access carbon markets, with building emphasis on high-quality, high-integrity markets. For instance, in Africa, the Western and the Eastern Africa Alliances on Carbon Markets and Climate Finance give both governments and the private sector an opportunity to exchange on the operationalization of high-integrity or high-quality markets for both the demand and supply side. And it's through these exchanges that we anticipate more inclusive, more proportional implementation of the carbon market.
Governments should also foster public-private partnerships by offering financial incentives like tax breaks and subsidies, attracting private investments into carbon-reducing projects. Governments can also facilitate the exchange of carbon credits through developing a succinct regulatory framework for applying Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. Article 6 states that once a credit is authorized, the host country of the project must make a corresponding adjustment to ensure the credit is not double-counted toward their own nationally determined contribution. Currently, there is no standard model for issuing and tracking CA credits within voluntary carbon markets. Another important reform is respecting informal land tenure customs and customary rights of the communities. This involves balancing traditional practices with the need for secure, long-term carbon sequestration.
So how do we ensure that communities are included fully in these carbon projects? So when you look at indigenous, the whole debate around indigenous peoples and carbon, it focuses on about 5 things: land rights, consultation and participation, free, prior and informed consent, and then it focuses on benefit sharing, among others. But I think this should not just be the parameters, because it drives the idea that for communities to get benefit from carbon, there must be somebody coming from outside to invest in their territory. I think we should change the paradigm so that communities themselves can develop and market carbon credits without necessarily any outside influence. And this will help the communities secure their lands. It will help strengthen their decision-making structures. It will help strengthen their entrepreneurship capacities, etc. So I think we should change that from just being mere beneficiaries to actually being owners of carbon projects in their territories.
Innovation is the engine driving the future of carbon markets in Africa. From advanced satellite monitoring systems to blockchain technology for transparent transactions, innovation is enhancing the efficiency and credibility of carbon markets. Advanced technologies like artificial intelligence are revolutionizing the verification process, making it more efficient and accurate. The future of carbon markets in Africa is bright, filled with promise and potential. By prioritizing integrity, supportive policies, international collaboration, and embracing innovation, Africa can lead the way in global carbon market development. In support of this, ACMI was set up with a vision to scale high-integrity carbon markets in Africa to drive substantial climate action, sustainable development, and just energy transition while delivering significant co-benefits for the economy, welfare, and biodiversity. Since its inception, ACMI has received over 50 requests from governments to collaborate on carbon market efforts. Join ACMI in supporting Africa's transformative journey.
So in conclusion, let me just say that African carbon markets offer an immense opportunity for African countries to increase the availability of development capital, but as well as private sector investment. We have a collective duty as government, as philanthropy, as the private sector, to work together to make African carbon markets work. The African Carbon Markets Initiative is doing just that. It's a platform that brings together all the stakeholders across the carbon markets value chain, and we are proud to be associated with this initiative.